All right, can everyone hear me? Because I think we're going to get started. All right, I see some thumbs up. That's terrific. Hi, Adriana, how are you? Good. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Just trying to pull everyone up. All right, well, if everyone can hear me, I'm going to just get started. We have quite a few people going on, and we have just a limited amount of time tonight, so I want to get started. My name is Heidi Romney, and I am a Silver Ambassador. My upline, my Plexus genealogy, as I like to call it, is Erica Garcia is my sponsor. And then we have Phil Mango, and then Jen Mango, and then Crede, and then Rainey, who's with us tonight as well. And I've been doing Plexus for a little over a year. There's been, well, I guess it's been more than that. It's actually been a year and a half, and there's been times when I've been more serious about it than others. And part of the reason for that is that I work full-time. And so I wanted to share tonight some of the things that I feel like can help all of our businesses to become stronger. I think the point of this Silver Boot Camp is to help us all to reach silver, and if we're at silver, we're obviously striving for gold. Let's see. Can everyone, will y'all just give me a nod if you can see me? Yeah, okay, because my screen keeps clicking back and forth, and I'm just not sure where I'm at. As long as you can see me and hear me, that's good. All right.
I can't see her or hear her because I didn't do it myself. I allowed them to get my camera on.
All right. So what I wanted to do first is I wanted to show you a little object lesson that you may have all seen before. And so I hope you can see this. I have a jar right here, and this jar is full of rocks. And I'd like you to think about it. And do you feel like this jar is full? Can you see it? Yeah? So the jar looks like it's full. You can see right there. But really, in reality, if we take it, and I have a half cup of smaller rocks, and if we dump them, we can also get about a half cup of smaller rocks into the jar, which already looked full. So you may know where I'm going with this, and you've probably all seen it before. But the jar looks full. Is the jar full? No, y'all caught on really quick. If we take some water and pour it in, and I hope I don't get water on my computer, that would be bad. But on top of all that was already in there, and I'm not going to fill it all the top because I don't trust myself, I was able to fit almost an entire cup of water in the jar. And you may have all seen this before. It's a fairly common object lesson. But the point that people often will make with this is that the jar represents the 24 hours that we have in a day, right? And even when we feel like our day is full, there are still nooks and crannies of our day that we can fit things in. And this, it's a really good point, and I think it's applicable to our Plexus business. Sometimes we feel like we're super busy and we can't fit things in, but there are these little nooks and crannies that we can add extra things to. But I thought about this a little longer, and I'm not going to do it because it's going to take too much time and be too hard. But let's say I took all of this back out, and first I put in the water and the small rocks. And then I tried to put in the big rocks. Do you think the big rocks would fit? The answer is no. The big rocks wouldn't fit. And so the analogy I want to make here is I want you to think about these big rocks as the priorities in your life. What things are the most important? And you want to fill your jar or your day with those first. Because if you put them in first, you can work a lot of other little things in there. But if you leave your priorities out, which are things like your family, your job, your Plexus business, getting sleep, If you leave those things out and save them to the end, you're going to run out of room in your day because you're going to fill it with all the small things like the little rocks in the water, which aren't as important. So many of you may have heard, this is a quote that we hear quite a bit. At least I have heard it many times, especially in Plexus. And it goes like this. It says, you can work your business full-time or part-time, but not in your spare time. And this author that I read this in, he said the reason for this is simple. None of us have any spare time. We were using 24 hours per day long before we ever heard of network marketing, and we will continue to. The only way that people have time for their businesses is if they make time. And then he says, when someone says that they do not have time for something, they have stated a priority, not a fact. So I read this. I'm not trying to be a big downer. Here we all have long faces going, oh my gosh. She's telling me that I don't have time. I have time, but I don't feel like I have time. Because if you're like me, your day feels busy. Your day feels full. Sometimes it feels hectic, chaotic, stressful. Do any of those things seem reasonable to you? Do you feel like that might sound like how you feel sometimes? So what I want to do today is break it down a little bit and talk about what things we can do to take that stress level down and to find ways to fit our businesses in, because our businesses are only going to grow if we make time for them. Okay, so what can we do? So I'm going to give you 3 things that you need to do, or we all need to do. I need to do it too. And let me just make a disclaimer. I don't want anyone to go away from this feeling like, oh my gosh, what a downer she is. Oh my gosh, she just told me I have all these things to do. Because as I was reading over this, I was feeling like, I'm not doing all this. But I think sometimes we need a little dose of reality, and we need to take a look at ourselves and go, are we doing this? Did we come into this business thinking that if we just sat around for a year that we would be a diamond? I don't think so. The people who are diamonds have worked really hard. And so today I want to give us all some tips of what we can do so that we can do those things we want to do. So number 1 is set goals. What is your goal with Plexus? Do you want to make a car payment? Do you want to make a house payment? Do you want to be able to stay home with your kids? Do you want to be an emerald and get that Lexus and a trip to Maui? That sounds awesome to me. Sapphire, diamond, what is your goal? You need to figure that out. And this is part of your why. And hopefully at some point your upline has asked you to figure out what your why is and write that down for yourself. And now you need to ask yourself, you've got this goal, you have to ask yourself this question: how much time is it going to take? Do you know the answer to that? And if you do, write it down. If you don't, you need to talk to your upline. Ask Rainey, how much time did she put in? How many hours did she put in order to become a diamond? Ask Jen, ask Erica. You can quantify how much time it takes putting into your business to get to the different levels that you want to be in. And I think a lot of us think, well, time is measured in, I've been doing this for 6 months, or I've been doing this for a year. But if you think about yourself like a pilot, when a pilot goes to get a pilot license, he doesn't sign up and, 6 months later they'll give him a pilot's license. His pilot license is based on how many hours he logs in the cockpit and in flying in his plane. And that's the same with your business. How many hours are you going to put in? And then you have to ask yourself this next question: how much time do I have to put into my business? And I'm going to tell you how we can find those nooks and crannies in just a bit. Is it 2 hours a day? Is that too much? Is it 2 hours a week? How much can you give to your business? And realistically, how fast can you expect your business to grow? All right, number 2. So number 1 was set goals and write down how long it's going to take you to reach it. Number 2 is to establish your priorities. So remember the big rocks in the jar? What are the big rocks in your jar that you need to do first? Sarah Marble said, and I think this is true for a lot of us, it can be God, it can be family, it can be our Plexus business, it can be job. I think it's important to get sleep. I don't function at all if I don't get sleep. I don't know about the rest of you. So discover what those things are that are your priorities so that you can do them first. And then those things that aren't your priorities, that'll help you see those things that aren't your priorities in your life, and you can help to sideline them or eliminate them depending on what they are and if you need to be doing them or not. And number 3, after you've set your goals and established your priorities, you need to schedule your hours of operation. So I don't know how many of you work, but I work, and when I go to work, I have to be there at a certain time. And while I'm there, I'm applying myself to what I'm doing, and then I come home and my day is over. And I think with our network marketing, part of the beauty of network marketing, right, is that we can fit it in and we can do it whenever we want and kind of in the parts of our day that it works best for us. But we have to do it sometime. And so you need to, we all need to make a schedule and schedule out what we're going to do with our time. Okay, this one you're all going to get mad at me, so I was afraid to even say this one, but I think I'm going to do it. I'm brave. I'm stepping out of my comfort zone. But when you're figuring out what to do with your time and you're keeping track of what you're doing with your time, I want to tell you something that doesn't count. Facebook does not count. Okay? I'm not saying that Facebook's not important. We all know the value of Facebook to our business. Posting brings us business. It's a great way to communicate with a lot of people what we're doing and what we're involved in. But, okay, I'll let Facebook count on one thing. If you're direct messaging someone specifically about the products or specifically about the business, or you're following up with someone through Messenger, I'll let that count. But really, when you're posting on Facebook, that should take just a couple, 3 minutes a day. Any other time that you spend on Facebook is not bringing you income. It's good. I mean, obviously we learn a lot from our team pages, and we can make connections, and we can learn all sorts about the products. But the key to it is those are not income producing activities. And if you want to grow your business, you need to be doing income producing activities. There's a lot of different things out there that I've heard that can help with this, but the one that I hear the most often is the 5-3-1 plan, and you may have heard of it. And the 5 references how many people you can either do this 5-3-1 plan in a day or over the course of a week, depending on how much time you can use or give. But the 5 is to contact 5 people about the business or the products. Can be as simple as giving a business card to someone, but more valuable and more income producing is to actually talk to someone about the business or the products. So 5 people, tell them about the products. The 3 refers to following up. And Sherilyn Jameson did a great session a couple weeks ago about follow-up and how to be effective in your follow-up and how that helps. But you want to follow up with 3 people about the products or the business. I think she said, I mean, what is it, 8 to 10 people? You have to follow up multiple times often before someone's going to be interested with what you're doing. And the last thing is train one person or help one person in your downline. If they're new, you can help them with their making their contacts too. So training or helping or mentoring one person in your downline. So I was thinking about this about myself and how effective am I at the 5-3-1 plan. And like I said, some things are more effective than the others. But I think one thing we can do to evaluate ourselves is look at yourself from the perspective of your upline. So my upline is Erica. When I'm working my business, if Erica was watching me, would she think that what I'm doing is income producing? Is it valuable? Ask yourself this question. If I was actually working a job, would I rehire myself? Would I find that I was a good employee? And again, network marketing, the beauty of it is that we're not. But think of it in those terms, and it'll help you evaluate your progress and what you're doing in your actions. I heard one lady say, I was at a seminar a few months ago, and she said, I was convinced I was talking to enough people until I actually started talking to enough people, and then she realized the difference there. Sometimes we feel like we're doing a lot, but until you actually do it, then you can feel the difference. All right. Okay, so at this point, I hope I haven't scared or discouraged you or made you feel like network marketing isn't all that it's cracked up, or all that you thought it would be, because you can do this. I know that you can do this. There's time in all of our days. It's just a matter of using that time as wisely and effectively as you can do it. So again, and looks like I'm going to finish up early, which is awesome. Number one, set a goal and write it down. Determine how many hours or days or hours per day or week you can take. Number two, establish your priorities. Hopefully you've already got this all down. And let your actions show that those are your priorities. And then three, block out your time and schedule exactly how you will use that time. And a great way to do that is with a notebook. We all talk about Rainey's notebook. It's like the golden Bible notebook. But you should have just a spiral notebook, and you can write down what you do. You can also write down the names of all those people that you're going to contact. Your list of contacts is huge. And if you haven't sat down and written out, gosh, I would challenge you to write 200 to 500 people down that you can think of, and there's different triggers that you can use, like who did I know from my elementary school, or who do I know from the dental office, or whatever. There's lots of triggers you can use to write down people that you already know, because that list of people that you know is one of the most valuable things to your business, and you need to start contacting those people. All right, so I'm going to give you a closing quote, and then I'm going to give you your homework. And then if anyone has questions or comments, if Rainey or Phil or Erica, if y'all want to make comments, I would love that. But this closing quote I liked, and actually I've written it down and I look at it quite frequently because it's a good self-evaluation. And the quote is this: what is keeping you from spending more hours? Is it time? Is it your skill? Is it your fears? Is it stalling, or is it something else? If you think the opportunity is real, what is keeping you from taking advantage of it to the best of your ability? I think if we think about this and do some real self-reflection, we'll be more likely to find the time and make the time and use the time. So your homework. There's 2 sets of homework, but depending on which group you think you fall into. So I'm going to tell you that the first group is, if you feel like you do not have enough time to work a Plexus business, this is your homework if you fall in this group. I want you to be like the pilot. I want you to log in, make a log for a minimum of 3 days, but a week is better. And I want you to write down everything that you do over the course of that week, how you spend your time, everything. It's kind of like a food log where we take a picture of what we eat, and it kind of helps trigger what we're actually doing when we think we're not eating what we're eating. But it's with your time. I want you to write down, if you think you don't have time, I want you to write down what you are doing with your time. And then evaluate it. Are those things your priorities? If they're your priorities, perfect. If they're not your priorities, if it's watching a TV show, or my favorite is I'll get on the internet and the next thing I know, an hour has gone and I don't know where it's gone. Eliminate those, or find ways to put those in specific time periods so you don't spend so much time. The second group of people who have a different set of homework, so if you're in group 2, this would be your homework. The second group of people are those people who feel they are already working their Plexus business. And if you are working your Plexus business, awesome. Good, that's awesome. But what I want you to do now is write down what it is you are doing. So I sat down, I did this for a week, and I sat down, and every time I actually did work my Plexus business, I wrote down the time I started and the time I ended, and then when I was done, I made notes about what I was doing that whole amount of time. It's amazing how much you can do in a little bit amount of time if you focus, and how much time, like with me, it's Facebook is a real killer. How much time you can be lost. And I think I'm working my business, but really the only income producing activities, like I said, are doing those 531s, contacting people about it. So those are the 2 sets of homework. If you don't have time, write down what you are doing and figure out if you can find time. If you are doing it, write down what you're doing, and then determine, are those income producing activities that are going to build my business. So thank you very much for your time tonight. I appreciate the opportunity to talk, and I hope that y'all got something out of it. But the big thing that I just want everyone to know is you can do this. You have time and you can do this. There is absolutely nothing standing in your way except for yourself. We all have this awesome opportunity, and it's real. It's a wonderful thing, and I want all of you to succeed, and I want to see your businesses grow. So, if you have any questions, I don't know if I can unmute people.
We do.
Oh, wow. So you might have to mute yourself, but if you have a question, feel free to ask. Or Rainey, if you have something to say, that'd be awesome too. Because I'm done.
Nancy's ready.
I would love to say something. First of all, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, good. That was an amazing message, and I want to thank you, Heidi, for your visual explanation, your clear message, and then at the end wrapping it up with accountability. I think we can all use that. So I'm super proud of you for being such an excellent leader and coming up with a great message and follow-up to Beverly's awesome message this morning. So y'all tag teamed it perfectly, and I am super proud. I don't know, my great-grandma, great-great-grandma, I don't know, but I'm proud, to say the least. I want to share with the group, just on your heels of just believing in yourself. I had an opportunity to do a couple of speaking engagements this weekend, and just in thinking about Plexus and just opportunities that have come and gone in my family's past. I want to share this one with you guys to piggyback on the belief message, because if y'all haven't guessed, there's going to be a message soon coming on this. So I want to tell y'all a little story about someone that I know, and she was given an opportunity many years ago for $5,000 to invest in a startup company. Startup company was a video company, and she was scared. She thought, what if this doesn't work? What if this opportunity fails? What will happen to my financial future? Because $5,000 is a lot of money. The woman decided to pass on that investment opportunity, and I'm going to share with you that investment opportunity was with a little company called Blockbuster Video, and that woman was my mom. So I learned a big lesson in that missed opportunity, and for a very low startup fee of $34.95 plus your welcome pack, you can invest in yourself and a business opportunity that can pay you very, very handsomely. So I want to share that with you all in just solidifying your belief with Plexus and the opportunity that you have before you, and to make sure, all of you are on this call for a reason. You've invested already, but continue to do so, because this is that Blockbuster. So I wanted to share that with you. I want to tell you, Heidi, again, I'm so proud of you, and I don't want to take the entire time, but I do sincerely appreciate all of you for joining tonight and taking the time to grow yourselves as well as your business. Thank you.
I think there was a question from somebody. So whoever had the question, you should unmute yourself and ask.
Yeah. No questions? Awesome. Sarah, did you have something? Yes. In the lower left of your screen, there's an unmute button. You can push that.
Okay, I got it.
There you go.
Sorry, my screen was being weird. Yeah, I have a question about with the whole list, like making a list of everybody like I understand, like I have a list, but my hang up is if this is relationship marketing. So how do you contact them and kind of generate a relationship if you haven't talked to them for 20 years or I think that's my hardest thing, is how do you reach out to them without them thinking, oh, well, the only reason she's reaching out to me is because she wants me to buy her product. They think of it as sales rather than me wanting to serve them and help them with their health. So I just wanted to ask how you do that, or if anybody else has wisdom on that.
I'll answer what I do real quickly, and then I know Rainey and Phil, I'm sure, have great answers too. But I find it helpful to often talk to people in the third person as if they're not my specific goal, but as if I'm looking for them to give me a referral. I have this great business opportunity where you can invest, $34.95 just to start the business. and I'm trying to grow my business in your area. Do you know anyone who might be interested in working for home or that kind of thing? So you're asking them for referrals, and yet in the back of their mind, they might be thinking, oh, those products sound awesome, or that business opportunity sounds awesome. That could work for me too. So sometimes you can do it by using them as a referral base rather than directly contacting them. Phil, Rainey, do you have something that you want to add?
I do.
Oh, Erica. Yeah, she's awesome. There she is. Hi.
Hi. Okay, so what I would say to do is to engage them. If you're pursuing them, I hate to say it like that, but I don't know of a better way to say it. If it's on Facebook, then, comment on what they post, kind of engage them in conversation. Listen for keywords like, oh my gosh, my allergies are just driving me crazy, or, I'm having a hard time making ends meet this month. Just earlier this week, I had a lady that I have not talked to. Like, when I went to message her, I realized that I've never messaged her. So I felt kind of weird, like you're saying.
Yeah.
But she was complaining about how she's just tired of being on antibiotics. So she had contracted this, strange virus. So I messaged her and I said, I'm so sorry that you're going through this. Please tell me that you're taking a great probiotic. And so I just kind of strung her along that way. And I mean, we've been talking nonstop now, and she ordered. And I mean, it's just relating to them wherever they're at, I think is important. Getting, if they just had a baby, tell them how cute their baby is. All babies are cute, but, just make an extra effort to reach out to them and engage them in conversation. And I don't want it to sound cheesy, like that's your only reason for it, but I mean, this person is your friend for a reason. So, obviously you had something in common with them, or you knew them from somewhere. So use that, as an opportunity to grow that relationship. And then, they'll know what you're doing because you're posting about it. And eventually one of you will mention it.
And I'll piggyback on that. That's a great answer as well. As I look at Erica, we didn't have a relationship with Erica except through hockey, and we'd sit with her on the bleachers. But that was enough to share the opportunity with, and our relationship has grown from there. Beverly Woodson, a principal for our kids that we loved, but when our kids went to a different school, we didn't have a relationship for a few years. So just because you haven't connected with them in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, just the fact that you have any sort of connection is a reason to reach out and say, how's it going? Find out what's happening in their lives, and then you find that common connection and an entry point for Plexus. Anything to add, Jen?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
So, great question. I'm glad you asked.
It is a great question. And, I just want to say how smart this team is. I mean, the only other thing I could add to it, Sarah, is the obvious, and that is this is a relationship. And like you said, it is about the networking piece of it. So like Erica said, and like Bill said, you're not going to just throw up Plexus on them right away because you don't want your intentions to be misinterpreted. You want to rebuild that relationship through a couple of conversations prior to introducing the Plexus to them. And you'll know when the right time is because you're listening, you're not just hearing. So listen for those cues, and you'll know when it's time to introduce Plexus. And it'll be very organic, and they won't feel like you're selling them anything because you're going to speak to them and communicate to them from your heart.
And they don't always respond. I mean, and that's okay. But you'll never know if you don't reach out.
Remember, we're focusing on no regrets, right? Not missing an opportunity.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Sarah. That's a great question, and thanks for everyone's feedback. Anyone else have anything before we sign off for tonight? No? All right. Well, to respect your time, let's sign off and call it a good evening. Have a great evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Good night.
Good night.
You all.